May the Lord give this council the wisdom, discernment and courage to serve the community. Grant also that we may act compassionately and in integrity in the best interest of this Shire. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. I would like to show respect and acknowledge the traditional owners and custodians of the land and elders past, present and future on which this meeting takes place. Thank you, councillors. Thank you, councillors, for coming to the extraordinary council meeting. And Mr GM, application for attending the meeting by video link.
No councillors have applied, Mr Mayor, but just letting you know that we do have a staff member and a consultant in regard to the confidential item online.
Thank you. Apologies or application for leave of absence by councillors?
Yeah, we have a request for absence from, or an apology from Councillor Fraser, who is in court today and unable to make it.
Got a mover. Move Councillor McGill. Second, Councillor Shields. All in favour? Against? Carried. The confirmation of the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on the... what's that? Public participation, sorry.
Yes, Mr Mayor, I have a request from Mr Steve Gowland, who wishes to speak on matter CR 3.1 Gumman Place hostel transition.
Okay, we might... Steve, you want to do that straight away?
Whenever it suits you, Morris.
Okay, that'll be fine. Thank you. You know the rules, Steve.
Councillors, we understand there's been several expressions of interest to take over the operation of Gumman Place. On behalf of all of the residents in the Upper Hunter Shire and surrounding districts, I'm appealing to you, the councillors of the Upper Hunter Shire, to represent the best interests of your constituents, to select the organisation that will best maintain the hostel for the aged in the spirit that Gumman Place was first envisaged. It was the Merriwa community and the Merriwa Shire Council that turned a dream for an aged care hostel into a reality. It's important here to note that the local community and the Merriwa Shire Council worked together hand in hand to design and to implement Gumman Place as an aged care hostel to meet the needs of the local ageing population. It's most disappointing that this current process has been conducted in total secrecy and behind closed doors. We can only hope that you, our elected representatives, use the information made available to you to make the right decision for the benefit of the community. The Merriwa community last year demonstrated their determination to save Gumman Place by attending council's meeting in force, as you can all remember. How could you forget that day? And we accept that council no longer wishes to operate Gumman Place, so we trust that a suitable organisation can be contracted that has expertise in the business and has the willingness to take over the running of Gumman Place. However, in the unlikely event that council cannot find a suitable organisation, we would ask that council release Gumman Place from the trust and hand it back to the community so that the same determination that established Gumman Place can go to running it as it was originally intended. Above all else, it is critical that we retain an aged care hostel in Merriwa. So I call on you to make the right decision today. Thank you.
Any questions, councillors? Councillor McPhee.
Steve, thanks for talking. I remember that meeting very well because I remember you mentioning that you were going to do training courses. So you would be part of taking over that facility. Have you done any of those courses?
We've met with a group to help with some ideas to establish an organisation that could take over the Gumman Place if the need arises.
Right, so you haven't done the courses yourself because you mentioned at that meeting that you were going to be maybe being part of that organisation, being part of the overseer, and that you would personally be taking courses so you could be better placed to run the facility in the future, if I remember that correctly.
I don't think I said I would personally undertake training in that. However, we haven't established an organisation to take over at this stage because, as I said earlier, we're putting our trust in council. You've asked for expressions of interest, and obviously there are some expressions of interest and I understand that's what you're doing here today. So if you're unable to find an organisation that's unable to take on Gummer Place, then the community of Merriwell will step up and we will take it over.
Councillor Shields.
Steve, I've just listened to that and I'm thinking, what's your time frame? If we don't make a decision today, what's your time frame to take over?
These things take time, but as I said, we're putting our trust in you, our elected representatives, to make the right decision today.
Because I'm very concerned with your opening statement about that we would make a decision in the interests of the entire Shire. And I'm wondering whether sitting behind that is an inference that we won't do that. I mean, I come to these meetings each month and for extraordinary meetings, and that's our brief. Our brief is to make decisions for the entire Shire as we see fit. So I'm just concerned that you are saying that the Merriwell community will step up and pick up the pieces when apparently we fail, but you've got no timeline, you've got nothing, and you want me to believe that you're going to operate in the best interests of Gumman Place. I'm struggling with that.
In answer to your first point, the point I was making was that Gumman Place is for people of all areas, all local areas, not just for the people of Merriwell. It's for people within the Upper Hunter Shire, and it's for people in surrounding districts. And at the moment, there's one resident that's even come from Maitland. He really enjoys it there. He was offered to come to Merriwell, and when he was offered, they said, "Oh, you wouldn't want to go to Merriwell, would you?" And he said, "I'd absolutely love to go to Merriwell," and he has really embraced it. And Gumman Place is really fantastic. It's a lovely place for them to live and to enjoy the time that they have left.
Any other questions, councillors? Councillor McGill.
Yes, Steve, you kept referring it to as Gumman Hostel. Can I get your understanding as to where we're going with this in terms of what will be the future of this facility?
I wish I could answer that, Peter, but as I said, all of these consultations have been carried out behind closed doors. Back when it was first established, the community worked with council to figure out exactly what was required, and it was then set up as a hostel where people could stay. They had accommodation there, they had meals provided, and they had a minor level of care. Obviously, we'd like to see that same sort of thing retained now. We understand that it can't be high-level care because of the various legislation and a whole host of other reasons. But yes, we'd like to see it retained as a hostel where people, aged people can stay, have accommodation, have their meals prepared, and some type of basic level of care, but also they could be attended by visiting care providers.
You are aware that, what is it, April 30, we surrender the high care registration?
Absolutely, yep.
Any other questions, councillors? Councillor Stoltz.
Steve, yeah, I note your comments here and appreciate you stepping forward on behalf of the community in terms of if a resolution isn't reached or the resolution is of the negative. So your understanding and maybe the community's understanding is that if we don't come to a decision today, what's the perception of the community will happen if we don't come to some sort of a resolution today?
Well, obviously, council is handing in their licence to operate Gumman Place as a high-level care. That doesn't necessarily mean that it can't be retained by council as an aged care hostel, although we understand council doesn't want to run an aged care facility. We completely expect that. Above all else, we just don't want to see the doors of Gumman Place closed. If it takes a little bit of time for a new operator to take over the business, or if surely there's somebody out there who is capable of doing that. If there's been expressions of interest, certainly they're able to take over the place.
Any other questions, councillors? I've got a couple, Steve. The EOI was done secretly. I don't know really where you're coming from there. Are you aware of how many letters went out to how many interested parties, or could have been interested parties?
I would have no way of knowing that, Morris.
Right, that's fair enough. I can tell you there was a lot of letters went out, and I'm not going to tell you the figure, and I'm going to tell you there was some that showed an interest. If we can't do a deal with some of these that showed an interest, apparently it's not a profitable business, how is the community going to fund to run a low care facility?
We haven't done the sums of that, Morris. The information on this whole process has been kept behind closed doors. The community has been excluded from it, even to the point of the Government Place Hostel Advisory Committee have been not given any information on this whole expression of interest process. They were set up to be a liaison between council and the community, and they have failed to do that.
So what did you expect the council to tell the committee? What more information did they want? Did you want them to be told who put expression of interest in, or what? Because what I can understand is some of these people were phoned by community members. How they knew who put in is beyond me. So what more did you want the council to do?
The term boarding house has been mentioned by various people. It's our concern that the facility may not just be exclusive to aged residents of the Shire and surrounding districts, that it might be opened up for trade workers or younger people with disability or the homeless. We don't want to see that happen. We just want it to be reserved for aged care people.
Right, but surely the community must have done some figures on what this could cost.
We've been in consultation with care provider, at least one care provider, to run some figures.
Okay, any further questions, councillors? Councillor Clout.
I have one. Did you or anyone else in the community groups that's interested in running it, if nobody else steps up, did you consider putting in an expression of interest, despite not having maybe the legal framework behind you? Did you consider putting in an expression of interest? I mean, that would have allowed you to see the same details as all the other ones putting in an expression of interest.
That's a good point, Tanya. Thanks for mentioning that. We have asked for a copy of the letters that went out with inviting expressions of interest, and we were told we weren't allowed to have one of those. So no. This is why, as I say, the whole thing's been kept under wraps, secret, behind closed doors.
Mr Pringle, wouldn't that have been a public document that went out or not?
Through you, Mr Mayor, no, the information memorandum that went out calling for expressions of interest was a document that was only provided to providers that signed a non-disclosure agreement, and they were then given a copy of the information memorandum in order to prepare their EOI and submit that to council.
Thanks for
Okay,
that.
So,
councillor.
so you're saying you were refused access to the EOI even though you asked for it? I'm concerned that did Merriwa Association, District Progress Association, refuse to sign the non-disclosure agreement? I mean, who made the decision to say that you guys couldn't see it? Do you know?
No, there was no information provided like that. But look, I think we're getting off the track here a little bit.
Well, we're not getting off the track here because the allegation is made that this has been super secret, and you're now saying that you were denied access to a document which, had you followed the appropriate procedure, as far as I can work out, you would have received all the information you needed. I'm just trying to get my head around, is this just an allegation?
No, Morris has already said that there was a lot of letters sent out to various organisations. Taya has said that we had, at the previous meeting, the residents had expressed an interest in running it if that didn't happen. So, you know, when those invitations for expressions of interest were sent out, certainly one of those should have been sent to the Progress Association or other organisations within Merriwa. So, no.
Should have been sent, or should the Merriwa District Progress Association stuck its hand up and said, we want one and we're prepared to follow all the procedures? I'm just concerned that there's all this expectation on the part of Upper Hunter Shire Council to do stuff for Merriwa, and now you're saying, well, we could step up, we could run it, we could do this. There's no timeline, there's no structure in place. I'm just concerned that everything you're saying is nothing other than smoke and mirrors. I'm sorry if that's insulting, but I'm just not hearing anything of substance.
Bill, you're quite right. There is a high expectation of the community on councillors, yourself. You were elected to represent the whole of the Shire, so you represent Merriwa as well as Aberdeen and Murrurundi and Scone. So our expectation is that in looking at these expressions of interest, you guys will make the right decision to make it possible for Government Place to continue as an aged care hostel. If you can't do that, then we don't want to see the doors closed. We will step up and see what we can do to keep the doors open. But the main thing is to rely on our councillors, our elected representatives, to make the right decision to get somebody to come in and run the place as it ought to be run.
Just a question for the Director, Matt. Wouldn't you have to be a registered provider to put a EOI in?
Through you, Mr Mayor, I guess a registered support and home package provider or a accommodation provider that we were considering.
So I'd be very surprised if Merriwa community could have asked or got given that information without being a licensed provider.
Through you, Mr Mayor, I haven't received a request from the Merriwa community to be provided with that information.
Thank you. Any other questions, councillors? No, if not, thank you.
Right.
Steve?
Thank you for the time.
Okay, councillors, back to the confirmation of the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on the 23rd of February. Going to move a Councillor McGill, seconder. Councillor Shields, any questions, comment, discussion? No, thank you, Councillor Ryan, for filling in. Good job. All in favour? Against? Carried. Disclosure of interest.
Nil received, Mr Mayor.
Straight over to the report is G03.1, the New South Wales Joint Organisation. In front of you, councillors. Got any questions? I've got a mover first. Move Councillor Ryan, second Councillor Clout. Any questions, comment? No. All in favour? Against? The motion is carried. Confidential report. Someone like to move us into the confidential, please? Councillor McGill, second Councillor Shields. All in favour? Against? Carried. Can we go into confidential, please?